Hey guys, I just want to give a very quick overview of what I think are the top 5 cards, the over and underrated cards, and the cards from past sets that I think we will be seeing more of with the launch of the Witchwood Expansion. First on the list is Baku the Moon Eater and Gen Greymane. These are excellent build-around cards that enable new archetypes, and with 18 new ways to build a deck, they will be the most experimented cards in the rotation for the next 2 years. For Shaman, we have Shudderwalk. I think this card is as good and as strong as people say it is, and there are a lot of battle cries that can be abused, such as the Serenite Chain Gang, Life Drinker, and Grumble the World Shaker combo. There has been a lot of talk about this, and I think this will be a real thing. The next card is also a Shaman card, Hagatha the Witch. It has a very strong passive hero power, and there are still a lot of good spells and tools that enable this card. It generates a lot of value and is just a great card for Control Shaman. There are spells that can heal you, clear the board, deal damage to the opponent, so everything you need is there to make this work. Next is Lord Godfrey. This is a better Defile that leaves a body on the board. You often want to combo Defile with spell damage, but this card can do it on its own. They probably printed this card for something like Odd Warlock, but expect to see this card just about everywhere. Lastly on my top 5 is Book of Spectres. This is easily the strongest card Mage has got. No Spell Mage will not be a thing, but this is still good in a deck that runs a lot of spells. Drawing 2 cards for 2 mana is really good, and the potential to draw 3 is just insane. Next I have 2 cards I think are overrated, the first of which is Witchwood Grizzly. It looks strong, and I expect a lot of people to try it out, but ultimately it will be not good enough in most decks, because I think a lot of the time it will lose too much health to be of any use. With that said, it may still be good enough in Druid decks that run Witching Hour, or Priest decks with Lady in White and Inner Fire. Speaking of Priest, the other overrated card in my list is Chameleos. I think this card is more or less like Shifter Xeris. The information you gain is not that valuable, and lining up the right time to play the card when it turns into something useful is ultimately going to be too difficult. Next, for underrated cards, I have Voodoo Doll. I personally think that this is the sleeper of the set. This card can be pinged off or used with cards like Mortal Coil and Defile, or even something like Warpath. I would look for mages and warlocks in particular to utilize this card. The other card I would say that is flying under the radar is Life Drinker. This card does a lot more than it seems for its cost, and it might be an enabler for the Shaman combos with Shudderwalk. I expect a lot of experimentation with this card, for sure. Lastly, I have some cards from the past sets that I think will be pretty relevant in the new meta. Firstly, we have Death Knight cards. In particular, I think Rexxar will see a lot of play because of the new beasts that will be updated to the card, as well as the new ones that are in the set. For example, there's Vicious Scalehide. I think this will enable a lot of strong beasts that will allow you to recover tempo on the board to be created. The other Death Knight that I think we'll be seeing a lot of is Jaina. Jaina is a Death Knight that has already seen a fair bit of play. The elementals from the Ungoro set are still around, and the addition of Bonfire Elemental should maintain a decent control mage deck. Another thing I think will come back are the quest cards, in particular Fireplume's Heart, in an odd warrior deck. There are a lot of strong taunt cards that are in the odd mana cost slot, and Tank Up is a really strong hero power that will provide enough durability to last into the late game to utilize Sulfuras. The Shaman card, Grumble World Shaker, as I mentioned earlier, I think will make its way back in the form of a combo deck with Shudderwock. The possibility of bouncing back multiple Shudderwocks and burning them out with Life Drinker's Battle Cry is a deck that I'm sure a lot of people will try out. Lastly, I have Master O card on my list. There are some very strong cards that you can pull from cards in the new set, such as Witchwood Grizzly, Dollmaster Dorian, or even Houndmaster Shaw. Look for this card to make a return in a big way. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about the cards that are coming in the Witchwood expansion, and what cards you are going to play with the most.